down to part time. It's movie review time.
And the worst part about it is whenever I run outside, I can't see the explosion in the air because it's
I
hidden from all
know.
the trees and houses in the way. Like I don't even know where it's coming from. I just feel it, and then I don't get to see the payoff. But again, it doesn't really bother me. But I wish I could see the explosion.
That's what every
See,
blind person says during sex.
I feel it, but I wish I could see it. That's funny.
Do we want to jump into the review? Do we want to do the game?
Okay,
what do
about
you
we
guys
start-
feel like?
Did you
We
want to
do
start
have-
off with the Would You Rather?
We
Since
do
it's-
have the game. We have those, and I also have the Marvels to discuss. Or
Do you want to get the
Oh.
shitty part out of the way first?
the
Yeah, let's
shitty
talk about
part.
Marvels.
The Marvels.
Okay. I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was pretty fun, and I think the thing I can give it the most credit for is that it had. I'm not a scholar by any means of this stuff, but that it didn't mess up with the lore so much, with what came before it, because every single other movie is always not dumping on it, but just not taking it into account or doing something that makes something that came before look stupid. Like Thor giving all the kids the power of Thor. Like, would have been real nice if you gave everybody in Wakanda the power of Thor whenever they were fighting Thanos' army. Would have been real nice. Some reason he didn't do it. Don't know why. So it did the least amount of damage in that sense. So I get credit for that.
Maybe.
What?
I was gonna say, was his dad dead yet?
Who?
Did Thor at that point? Did he have his full ability unlocked?
I believe so. Didn't his dad died in Ragnarok?
Yeah, that's right. Never mind. I'm
Whenever he was
confusing the
able to harness
timeline up in my head.
without his hammer. So in that movie, in Thor: Love and Thunder, if they had put a scene in there where he discovered or gained the ability to give his power out like that, then it would have been fine. But they didn't. So he could have done it all along, and he knew he could have done it all along, and he just didn't do it. Why? That's what makes it bad. And they chose to make all these movies a shared universe. You have to write within the confines of that. It's harder, but it's your choice to do that. You could have reset it all and then went off of, started new lore or whatever. But they didn't choose to do that. But I thought the movie was kind of fun. There's a lot of writing problems with it, but I thought Kamala Khan was cool. The one thing that doesn't work in this universe, though, is Kamala Khan's love of Captain Marvel, because in the comic books it makes sense because Captain Marvel's always been around and she's always been in the public eye, but nobody knows who there's no reason for us to believe anybody knows who Captain Marvel is because she's been in space the whole time and she's come down a couple of times. Don't necessarily know there's been any news coverage or interviews or anything like that. So it makes no sense that she's so obsessed with her. She doesn't really have any reason to be, and if she does, they should have showed us that in the show. That being said, I like her. I like Kamala Khan. I like the actress. I thought she was a lot of fun. I thought Monica Rambeau was a little stale in parts, but she also had some really good moments in character wise and acting wise. I did watch a review of something that made even though it was a good acting moment, it made it kind of dumb. And do you guys care about a spoiler?
I don't.
No.
Spoilers.
It was a spoiler that you told me about Thor being able to give out his power. Honestly, I was confused. Huh?
You haven't seen Love and Thunder? Thor 4?
I have, but I just don't remember him giving out his powers. I don't remember that.
Whenever he saved all the kids that were in that cave, and then he imbibed them all with the power of Thor, and they're like, remember that one kid had like a stuffed rabbit, and he was shooting like lightning out of its eyes, and like all the kids had toys, and they were all like electrified, and they were jumping around and beating up things, the gore creatures.
I completely blanked that. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I did forget about that.
And also,
Mhm.
Eternity, the whole thing in that movie about you get that one wish or whatever. Thor knew that they established that he knew that it existed the whole time, and then they made his hammer the key to getting there. Yet he did not go there to wish for Thanos to go away or to wish for all the people that got snapped away to come back. It makes it dumb. The movie itself, by itself, I liked, but you can't discount what it does for stuff that came in the past. They chose to make it connected. They need to write within that, and they're not.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the movie. I had fun with it. I've liked pretty much everything on its own, but it all damages what came before it or damages established characters going forward. And that's what annoys me about it. But each thing on its own, I've pretty much enjoyed. But okay, so at one point there's a hole ripped in time and space or whatever, and there's like another dimension on one side, and Monica Rambeau goes to close it. She says that Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel have to like blast her with their powers, and she can harness it and then go up to this rip and then put those powers back out to fix it. But it never establishes how she knows any of this is going to happen or work. And it never establishes, and it happens several times throughout the movie. There'll be a problem, and all of a sudden, Monica Rambeau is just like, "Oh, this," and it's like there's no way or reason, and doesn't show how she figures it out. She just knows it when she needs to know it, and it's a writing problem. You couldn't figure out how to make her figure it out, so you just said she knew it. She just said that in the blink, oh, in that moment, I got it, and this is it, and she's right every time. But so she goes up there and she's fixing the hole, and Captain Marvel is like, I don't think she's going to be able to make it back through that hole, and I'm gonna go stop her, So she starts flying towards her, and right as she gets up to her, she misses her. It's um she's too late. But it is established previously that she can fly at light speed, if not faster. So for some reason, she wasn't able to make it there, even though she was within eyesight distance from her. She couldn't make it to her in time. Also, if she had stopped her from fixing that hole, like it would have ripped open bigger and like destroyed the world. So why was she trying to stop her?
Women logic.
But also, Monica Rambeau had a really good line, a really good delivery as Carol was flying towards her, and she like starts to tear up, and she said, "I always knew that I was gonna have to stay," while she was fixing the hole, and I was like, "Wow, like that was a really good line, really good delivery, really good for her character because she sacrificed herself as far as she knew, and that was good. It was a good moment. But the villain was a little weak. I thought some of the fight scenes were fun. I enjoyed the musical scene, and then this guy that I was watching do, I can't remember who it was, or else I give it a shout out. But I was watching this review. He was talking about how pathetic it was given how high the budget was, and then he showed an example of a scene of a low budget movie that's not a musical. They just have a musical scene in it. And when I saw it, I was like, wow, like the difference is night and day. But it was still fun. So, judging it just on its own and not based against anything else, yeah, they could have done better given the money they had and given that it's Marvel and Disney and yada yada. But I thought it was fun, and as far as, like I said, it didn't damage the rest of the universe as much. So I would give it a watch.
I'll still watch it even though she wasn't. I just felt like her character is always, even from what you've said, it feels like a continuation of what they already did, which was rush her character in the first place, because it was a rush. Well, Marvel, Captain Marvel in the first place was a rushed. Yeah, because you think about how she was introduced into the Marvel Cinema Universe or MCU in the first place, it was rushed. Even the movie felt rushed. There was little to no meat to it. It felt like
It wasn't as rushed as it was shoehorned in.
rush, shoehorn, same
I enjoyed
thing.
that movie for what it was. I mean, I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it, but that didn't.
I had fun with it.
I mean, I can enjoy it. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it, but it did have that feeling of being shoehorned or rushed. Like
Yeah,
it
I mean, it
was
definitely did.
like a
It
quick
definitely.
like, oh, we need this piece right here before we go on to here. And it I knew they probably planned this sooner, but it felt like they were like, oh, hold on, we got to create this real quick. We almost forgot. Like,
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
It was
Definitely
just
seems to be
a
a lot.
it was just a rehash of The Long Kiss Goodnight. Have you seen that movie?
What was
Oh wait,
It's with Samuel L.
Well,
Jackson, Gina
well,
Davis.
August is
I
really
knew
good.
where they're spies, right?
Okay. Okay,
Where
now
she
that
has
you're saying
amnesia.
that, I can definitely see it, and it does make that movie look way worse than it is because Long Kiss Goodnight is so good.
Think about it.
It
It's
is a good
Samuel
movie.
L. Jackson with a girl who lost her memory going across
Uh-huh.
country.
Hmm.
She remembers who she is. He gets fucked up, but he lives. Just like The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Yeah, you're right.
Shit.
Except Long Kiss
I never
Goodnight was
thought
way better.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it was
So
a
much
good movie.
better.
Yeah, that was a good
So
movie.
much better. And even being like what, it was in like the mid to late 90s, right? So,
It was like
you know, as an older movie.
96, 97, maybe?
Speaking of older
Yeah,
stuff,
something.
I've been rewatching Twilight Zone lately. Have you guys ever watched the original Twilight Zone series? The 50s
Uh,
one?
I have watched a couple, like a handful of episodes. Like I watched the iconic William Shatner one with the plane,
Yeah.
or there's something on the wing. I did see that one.
I've seen some.
Yeah, there's like a
I
smattering of
love
them.
it. I love it. It's so good. Almost every episode is great. And you know, they had to write such good stories. They had no special effects, like, you know, and I mean, you know, they had some, but not like they have it now, and they just rely on it so much. So they had to step their game up in the writing department, and the writing is just so good.
Yeah. By the way, it was 96 for A Long Kiss Goodnight. You were right, Arlie.
My phone is plugged in, but I'm not sure that it's charging. Fingers crossed, boys. All right, we should jump to the next topic. What's next?
You want to do the review or the game?
Um, since we just did the review, a review of something, let's do the game.
Well,
Or the
hold
would
on,
you
hold
rather.
on, hold on. I was gonna say, are we gonna do two of them or all three of them?
All three of what?
Do you want to do you want to save yours, like you said, to like really nail it?
Yes. I'll flesh mine out later, so we'll do both your guys'.
All right. Well, why don't we do one now, one later? That way we have like it can be like a returning, like
Okay.
like a fun ender.
Sounds good.
All right.
I could
Why don't
go
we go with
since it can it kind of fits with space Marvel, kind of in a way,
All right.
Okay.
but not really.
That's better than mine. Mine wouldn't. Mine would be shoehorned. That's the only way it'll tie in. That it feels shoehorned into the conversation.
Would you rather be famous for having your wang cut off John Wayne Bobbitt style and getting it reattached, but you feel 75% less with it? Or would you rather be famous for being the first human to publicly get abducted by an alien and anally probed while it's being broadcast to all humanity?
Probed, 100% probed, and not because of the gruesome lack of penis feeling and getting it chopped off.
He just likes the
Not,
feeling of being probed.
no, but honestly, like, how cool would it be to like? Because you didn't say I'd be dead. You just said I'd be probed. So if I follow that scenario into completion, I get dropped off and I'm still famous for it. So I know I live, and I now know there's aliens. You bet your ass I'm choosing aliens. I don't go. I've been probed before, and it's not that bad.
I didn't say if you live or die. I don't know. I didn't put that part in. That's up. I just say you're famous. You're known, like you're famous.
Yeah, but
From it. So if I was assuming that I lived, I would have to go with the same thing. Because then
yeah,
also this is like, I mean, I guess in both situations you're maybe looking at talk shows. You know, like you hit the talk show circuit. And then it's like, how do people feel about you? And I guess in both of them, you're a victim. But one of them, I guess they both attack your manhood. Wow, this is really well thought out. Wow.
This was thought out on the fly before we went live.
I think that
That's a good
aliens
one,
make
though.
that cooler. Like the involvement of actual aliens makes that one cooler.
Right?
Yeah, but what if it's like District 9 and you start to turn into one of them because you got some of their germs in you or whatever it is that
I mean, then you're a badass alien.
Like more than the? Am I getting more than 25% as an alien?
you get 100%.
Okay.
Have you seen District 9?
Do I-
They turn into like cockroaches.
Oh.
I know how frequently.
Oh,
other
really? Is
people-
that what they are?
They're like cockroach aliens.
Guaranteed. Do they leave after they drop me off, or does somebody else get abducted as well?
They just beam you up by yourself, probe you, and then transmit it, and all of us see it, like everybody. Even the tribes like out in the middle of nowhere who have no technology, it like boop, a projector like beams it down to them, and you're just like, no.